Well, hello there. As we can see, this is the Dodcast episode 10, and this is my last bottle of balls, which is very disappointing. It's only been a week. I got a 12-pack. I was trying to keep it to one a day, but there's only 60 milligrams of caffeine in there. That's not enough for me. So I was usually drinking two. Anyways, I'm Cory, Jagon Marco, and I am alone today. I would have liked to have done this yesterday or the day before. I was waiting for my partner, Tony, to be here, and then I found out yesterday evening, which would be Wednesday, Wednesday the 2nd of November, that he has some real-life things going on, couldn't be on, so wish Tony Compton well and whatever it is that's going on, and I'm taking this solo for the time being, and, if that doesn't get resolved, I guess, by next week, I'll just start, instead of having special guests, I'm going to have special guest hosts. So, I'm sure there'll be many people like there was for the special guest spot that are going to try to be special guest hosts, and I'll have to figure it out as I go. But anyways, so we're back. This is episode 10, and this is the final episode, technically, prediction-wise, of the regular season. Little disappointing to not have Tony here, because, I don't like to do all the talking. I really don't. I prefer to be able to sit back, stick my balls in my mouth, sip on it, and just relax so that he can do the talking. And now in this case, I'm going to be doing it all. No guest, though, so maybe I'll be able to bang this thing out in, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to try really, really hard to do that this time, because without Tony, it feels like I don't have any excuses to go a full fucking, nearly 2 hours. If I can talk that long about DOD, there's a huge problem. Okay, I know there's already a huge problem when it comes to being DOD, but we're going to try to make this a little bit shorter this time. Just a little bit. So, on the itinerary of things to get into, there's not much going on. I will say that we were planning on doing a couple special episodes of this coming up, and without Tony, I'm not really sure where that stands. They are episodes that definitely were not going to be just me. It's supposed to be me, Tony, and at least one other person. In some cases, multiples. So, sponsored by Balls. Please, Balls, sponsor me. Send me 12 packs once every 2 weeks, man. I will, really probably once a week. But I'll accept every 2 weeks as a condition. So good. Anyways, those special episodes, not sure where they stand yet. One of those plans and guests that I had, I could definitely get on as a special guest host, hypothetically. I do have a few people that specifically came to me and asked if they could come on the show for the playoffs. One of them I'm less sure about because he seems to be playing regularly with his team now. And part of the situation was that he didn't think he'd be playing in the playoffs. And so he wanted to come on here and just talk about DOD, but instead I think he's a starter now. He should be. He is the second in average kills per match. That's a spoiler for anybody who's paying attention to fucking stats. Anyways, regardless, I really hope that we can get out those non-recap prediction episodes. Probably we're going to save them for the off-season anyways to keep stuff coming. I feel bad when I have nothing to stream for anybody for a while and people are asking me for shit and I'm like, there's nothing. I'm not going to just stream me sitting in fucking Discord playing CSGO retake or something. That's no fun for anybody. So I will try to get that. There are other things in the pipeline that will be coming out soon. Some things I've been working on with my boy Chi and Modgers. That should be pretty fun when the time comes for that. Probably next week, I think. And yeah, I don't know. You guys will see. I'd say I'll keep you posted, but realistically, it'll probably just be out there all of a sudden, which I love. I feel like we have a multimedia conglomerate in Day of Defeat right now. It's pretty sweet. But we have to recap the Lennon test, as Lurf named it. Lurf did pop back up in one of my streams for a cast last week, which was pretty cool. Really fun map. Seemed like a pretty fun week for everybody. Lots of pretty good matches. I think I only casted 3, maybe 4. Wasn't as much going on. A lot of them were right at the same time as each other. So In silver, I did Sleepers Washed Up. And I think that was it. Yeah. And I think in gold, I did T3 Typical and Overslow Loris. Yeah, because I was definitely, we wanted to see if No Name got 100 kills. We'll get to that. He didn't. You guys all saw. So anyways, we'll just get right into the recap here. I said I was going to try to make this quicker. I'm gonna pay attention to the time I've got on the screen and see, you know, try to keep it cut down as much as I can. So, right off the bat, we're going to get into the silver recap, which, again, I only got to cast one of these matches, so I don't, usually I'm getting to do more than that, and in this case, I did not get to. So, this looks like a Halley match, but this did get played this week. It's Fast Loris 235 to CIS 209. I did not have anything in regards to this match. Like, I didn't even know it was happening. This is kind of the way silver is going right now, though, because of all the makeup matches getting played. It looks like Hey Hi had himself a pretty good match. I guess I got to check both halves to be very certain of that. Yeah, it looks like he did overall. Lynx, too. Lynx had a pretty good match. Stealth, 27, and yeah, Sniping Exercise is a little bit tougher. Hong Kong Mafia, what a baller, dude. Holy shit. 30 and 17 on Allies, 28 and 15 on Axis. Looks like they had both Shika and Hong Kong Mafia in this week, which I'd like to know what classes they played. I assume Shika rifled, but Shika does snipe when Hong Kong Mafia isn't around often. Riley Staffer, of course, laying it down, always is. 27 and 22 on Allies, 26, 27 on Axis. You know, I mean, they lost by about 26. Really, really close match. Not sure who Fat Slob is. I'm sure I could figure it out. Oh, it's Laura's screenshots. Laura's playing as Fat Slob. And Twist, Red Dog, Lynx finally getting back in. I haven't seen him get to play too much, but it seems like he does well whenever he does, which is nice. Lynx was always a good player. I don't know that he plays DoD all that much anymore, but it seems pretty easy for him to get it right back. But yeah. Good game there. I don't have too much to say. That's not the map of the week. I'll just move on now. So the next one we got is CIS versus Price is Right. We were saying we hope that CIS could keep this one pretty close to make a statement. In the end, it was a 302-point win for Price is Right, so pretty much what was expected. 505 to 203. I mean, looking at the frags, wow, Fyro with a 39 on Axis, PKL with 134 on Axis as well. And on Allied side, Riley Staffer with the big 37. And then for Price is Right, Allen with 35 on Axis, 33, 68 overall for Allen there. You know, that reminds me, I should probably double check before I get into this too hard. Where is it? Okay, I should have known that already. Never mind. Anyways, continuing on. Toki on the sniper rifle, which is his preferred class for sure. 29 kills on Axis, 19 on Allies, a little bit tougher. Cory, 32 on Allies. I think it was 26, yep, on Axis. So lots of good halves here for Price is Right, obviously, and a pretty dominant win overall. Recoil actually was heavy here. 31 on the bar and 22 on the oomph piece. So, you know, I mean, it wasn't exactly what CIS hoped for, again, or in what I was hoping for them. I hope that they could keep it within like 100, 150. I didn't think there was really any chance that they were going to win on this map against them. Price is Right, one of the favorites in silver this season. But yeah, I mean, you know, 39 on Fyro, 34 on PKL on the less favorite side of the map. They look like, although it seems to be playing more Axis-sided lately. Has anyone else noticed that? This version of Lennon seems to be playing a little bit, I mean, not fully. I guess it kind of depends on the scenario. I mean, look here. This played very Axis-sided in this match. It can depend. On Allied side, you can cap out a lot easier. So if you get going on Allies, like, you're going to run up the score for sure. But not so easy anymore, I would say. Oh, wow. We've got another Price is Right match. This time versus Bedtime Now. This was on Shamil. Man, there's so many matches to cover here. Holy shit. So this was a 752 to 65 victory for Price is Right. They are getting those point differential points going hard. Looks like Cory, really good Axis half and Recoil, and then Dillard with a really good Allied half. Toki as well on the bar. Recoil, I mean, he also had a good allied half, just not as many kills for him to get because of how many kills everybody else got there. I mean, 139 kills to 94. That is rough. And in this half, it was 137 to 69. Wow, that is an 88 kill differential. You know, you got 10, 20, 18, 9, 7, 5. Like, this is a pretty big beatdown here by Price is Right, as you'd expect. But, you know. Regardless, that's Shamil. I don't want to dwell too much on the non-map of the week. So, continuing on in Silva. What do we got next here? We got Fast Loris. Wait, is this? Yes, this is. Fast Loris up against Moose Knuckle. So, this was a 572 to 207 win for Fast Loris. Big W. Wow, look at that duality there. Sean with a really, really good match overall. 41 on Axis and 30 on Allies. So as we've been saying for weeks, if Moose Knuckle can get their lineup together with their really like big boy players on it, like Sean, Bo is having good games all around. Quack Duck was playing really well at the start of the season. There he is again with another 30 bomb. He seems to be definitely more favored towards the car. Seems like his Garand halves are a little bit not as big, at least. So, but for Fast Loris, Hey Hi with another big one. Oh yeah, and Stamp there on the bar. The Apartments team going off big here. Wow, Hey Hi with the car bar. What a frag total that was. 49 with the car. Oh, he didn't car bar. He rifled. 49 and 35 for a 84 kill total. That's nuts by Hey Hi. Good for him getting on the full match of a rifle. I mean, he can play it all, as anybody who plays the game can see there. And yeah, I mean, stealth on the Unter there, on Axis. Did he snipe on Allies? He did, 23 and 22. But yeah, I mean, that's basically, you know, Moose Knuckle's still trying to figure it out. They got a lot of guys that haven't played competitively before. They've picked up some good players in Sean and Quack, and Bo has done a good job of keeping everything together here. OS has been playing well lately as well. And, you know, it's there's going to be separate playoff brackets as far as I know, so those guys will have a shot against the other teams they'll be playing against in the bottom half of the bracket for sure. But this map is tough to play if you don't have everything really locked down as a team. You can just give up so many caps, as you can see by that final score. So, got to get rid of that. Oh, that was 572 to 207. Fast Loris over Moose Knuckle, the best tag and name in the game. Okay, this is another makeup match off map. This was actually technically the match of the week, but there was two maps that they played on Anzio. We have a victory for Nogo, 410 to 286. Matthew had himself a really, really good game. Apple with a great car half. Again, I didn't get to see this one at all. Apple with a good... Looks like Apple played excellent overall. Louis with a good Allied side. Pretty good Axis side there. But pretty dominant win. I think that there was something said about somebody on Love Me Not being AFK for some portion of one of the halves. I'm trying to see if I can see that reflected in anyone's scores. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say for sure. I don't really know the whole story. It looks like there's a couple guys who were a little bit lower on the kill totals there. It's kind of hard to read these screenshots, too, like the actual names of the guys. Colin and Devin, of course, putting up big halves on both sides, as you expect from those guys. They are just ridiculous players. They go off every week. Look at that, double top frag for them. Colin with 64, Devin with 58, but just coming up short to No-Go, which is a big W for No-Go. If you look at the standings, actually, I'll wait to look at the standings because this is Anzio. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So, next one we got, because we'll get to the match of the week. Although, wait, was this the match of the week? I don't remember if I had it Love Me Not or Love Me Not No-Go or Washed Up Sleepers. I believe it was Washed Up Sleepers because I casted it. So I'm going to move over to Love Me Not's Lennon match. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So this one was a win for Love Me Not over No-Go. 436 to 196. And this gave us the Player of the Week in Silver. The MVP of Silver was Colin from Source. That's his last name. His last name is from Source. And he had let's double check here. 94 kills and a 2.69 KD ratio. How many deaths did he have exactly? 14 on allies and 21. So he went 94 and 35. I mean, Jesus, Colin, Jesus. You better have some movie clips from that half. What a fucking performance. Devin with 30. Matthews' client scheme is clean, but oh my God, it's hard to read the text on it. Like, it's giving me a headache trying to read this thing. 32, so 69 for Devin. Nice, nice. PKL being the fill-in ringer here for Love Me, Love Me Not as they get short on the roster now. Doing a pretty good job there on the heavy. Not sure what the situation is for Love Me, Love Me Not going forward. They've lost some players. I'm going to look at the standings here now because that certainly has a little bit of impact on those. Where are we? Give me this. Give me this. There it is, right? Nope, that's not it. Where the fuck did it go? There it is. Okay, so checking out the standings. So there's going to be a split in this playoff situation. Not positive where that is yet. It looks like here to here. So right now, Fast Loris is the number 1 seed there. CIS Bedtime Now and Moose Knuckle. And then for these top 5, Price is Right, remaining at 6-1, but a loss would put them in a 4-way tie. Jesus, and No-Go just behind after that loss to Love Me, Love Me Not on Lennon. But getting that win on Anzio was big. Because if they were at 4-5 right now, they could actually drop down, and Fast Loris can end up in that top half of the bracket. So, Love Me, Love Me Not at 6-2. Looks like so they lost to Washed Up. Washed Up's got the tiebreaker there. And Sleepers lost to Washed Up, which I haven't got to yet, but I will in a second. So Washed Up is technically the 2 seed here. They do have a matchup against Price is Right, I believe. Where is it? Washed Up. Wow, Washed Up plays Sleepers again this week. Good Lord. There's some crazy matchups yet to be played in Silver. Like, there's a Love Me Not, Price is Right matchup. Price is Right, Washed Up, Harrington. Love Me Not, Price is Right, RAILYARD. Price is Right, nope, never mind. Price is Right, Moose Knuckles. That's good for Price is Right for their point differential. And Washed Up Sleepers. Oh, and Love Me Not Sleepers. Sleepers with another tough doubleheader coming up this week. They were able to sweep the last one against No-Go on Thunder and Shamil. So if they could pull that off, that would be excellent for them in the standings. It would dump Love Me Not down beneath them for sure. And that will also, I mean, so depending on how things work out here, that Love Me Not Sleepers doubleheader could dictate the 3 seed. I mean, they could split it, and then it'll go to point differential, which Sleepers has a pretty heavy lead on, unless Love Me Not can really, like, just destroy them in one game and then lose by just a tiny bit in another. But because Sleepers has that loss to Washed Up now, Washed Up is looking pretty well poised to take that number 2 spot. Obviously, there's a lot that can happen here because there's so many matches between these guys yet to come. If Washed Up could beat Price is Right, that would be a 1-1 tie for them in the season series, and they would have to win by a lot to catch up to that point differential. I'd say Price is Right is pretty well clinched for that 1 spot, not mathematically at all. But just looking at the schedule, I would say they're probably going to get that 1 seed. But that 2 through 4 is just a total toss-up right now. These guys play against each other so much in these last couple weeks, making up matches from all season and playing on these final 2 maps. So nothing really decided in that 2 through 4. And No-Go and Fast Loris, you know, depending on what happens in their final 2 matches, they could swap. So a lot yet to be figured out in Silver. But getting back to the match of the week in Silver, let me swap it on over. Move it on over. There we go. Okay. Where am I at? There it is. So, Washed Up versus Sleepers. That was a 327-239 win for Washed Up. This one I did get to cast. And, I mean, it was just really, really well played by both teams. But in particular, Washed Up looked like a well-oiled machine. Bromley on long was an absolute fucking nuisance with the Stas and the Garand. He was all over the place. Defrag and Secretly going well. Really, really did a good job of holding shit down over there. War Within and Apartments, with Bullet Fodder sort of playing the more passive role, making sure, like, if War Within dies, they're not just giving up mid, giving up blue room control, giving up swing control. Bullet Fodder even holding the first flag towards the end of the half with an excellent prone spot. Everybody's probably seen it in the Discord now. And of course, Arachnid on long. I said that they would, like, this map holds down a sniper automatically, but Arachnid put up, I believe it's 47. That's not a screenshot. 46, no. 52 total kills, 52 and 37. Really, really good sniper score on this map. So yeah, just really, really well played by Washed Up. On Sleeper's side, they were missing their main dude in Vanna Key, which they could feel that impact for sure. They have guys who can fill in for him, and like Lobaton, but that's a tough, tough set of shoes to fill. Vanna Key's been the go-to guy for Sleepers, the guy they've been leaning on all season. And missing your top fragger and one of the best players in the division, that is going to sting for anybody. They still kept it pretty damn close. 88-point loss there. And, they were threatening right up until, like, the last... I mean, they were not... I would say that there was still a chance they could win until there was, like, 2 minutes left, realistically. But really, really well played by both teams here. LZL on Sleepers in particular had an excellent game. I know we were calling a lot of shit that he was doing. He was all over the place. Burn, we did get to see bust out the light on occasion. It didn't quite work out as well as it did against No-Go last season, unfortunately for Sleepers. Chi on the rifle had himself a good game as well. Usually heavies. Broken Heart, Tony C, again, because Tony Compton stabbed my man in the back over and over again on this fucking Dodcast. Unfortunately for Chi and me, he was right this time and Washed Up took it home. But really, really excellent match. So fun to watch. These silver games are the main event as far as entertainment level goes. They are always just pushing, pounding away at each other. Nobody's holding besides, like one guy on each team. You got Zaps for Sleepers, Bullet for Washed Up. There's always one slower player on every team because if you went all out balls to the wall, you'd be giving up caps as soon as you all die. Because you eventually die. So you always got to have that one guy holding back a little bit. But regardless, overall, it is really just back and forth, crazy fucking matches in Silver all season long. Sleepers matches in particular get extra crazy. Those guys are as resilient as it comes with like a never say die attitude. And to me, whenever I'm watching them, I feel like they're in every single game. Like somebody's going to pull some magic out of their ass at some point, like Matt, went negative here, but with how explosive and good a heavy he is, you just felt like anytime he could bust out like a 7-kill streak and go cap out or something. Same with LZL, Chi, Burn, all these guys very capable of going off. But Washed Up looking amazing heading into the final week of the regular season with a lot of important makeup matches to play. They seem to be peaking at the right time, getting shit down together. Secretly just keeps like every week raising up his skill level as anticipated at the beginning of the season because he is a pro player in another game. He is Swedish. Those guys frag hard, and DOD is a pretty easy game learning curve-wise, and it shows just how you can take a guy from another similar kind of game, first-person shooter, bring him over to this game, and this game makes a lot more sense than the average first-person shooter, especially in this day and age where they've made things just so fucking crazy in a lot of these games. And Secretly has shown that with a game that makes sense mechanically, anybody who's good at these other games can come over here, and you give them like a couple months, they're going to be looking great, and Secretly does. As well as Arachnid, the other big story from that team coming over from another game. Same exact class, it was DOD Source, of course, so similar game, but I've been really, really impressed with Arachnid and the way that he's adjusted to DOD 1.3 and all the little mechanics that come with the sniper rifle that are different versus Source. I played Source for a little bit myself and made an invite until I got caught being aliased in the league when I wasn't supposed to be, and then my eventual teammate, Sean Kalis Cypher, had to kick me out of the league. So, a little disappointing. But I know what it's like sniping in Source versus 1.3, and it's been really cool to see Arachnid make that adjustment. Looking like, you might say he's the best sniper in Silver. I don't think anybody would argue with you if you said that. And if they did, I would say why? Like, who's got a better case? Like, there's some good snipers, for sure. There's other good snipers down there. Stealth. But Kevin is a little bit more explosive, streaky, whereas Arachnid has just been like very, like straight across from the start of the season on. He's been doing like the same kind of stuff performance-wise, and that's something good to have as a team. It's very useful in DoD when you can just rely on your sniper to be killing the opposing snipers at every turn, not letting them get comfortable. No matter what their scores look like, the opposing sniper, if they're just being distracted by your sniper, that alone is very, 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 very valuable and can throw off the whole flow from that other team. And depending on the map and the route, that can open up a route a lot just by forcing that sniper to pay attention to his opposition. Because like there's some snipers who are more worried about just getting like the easiest kills they can find. Like I'm going to kill heavy at long range, whatever, like go off route, stuff like that. Whereas then you got the snipers that are really specialized in being a thorn in the side of his opponent's sniper, and that can throw off a lot on the other side because then you get that guy down because you're really focused on doing it, and then that opens up the map for everybody else. Map like Railroad 2 in the Allied Loft, you're the Axis sniper, you kill that sniper, that opens up balcony, that opens up lower apartments, that opens up four-way. On respawn, until they're on respawn, that opens up train car a little bit more because then you can take that peek and not have to worry about a sniper just holding 1 pixel angle on you in the train car. So little things like that where you're really just more focused on the opposing sniper and consistently killing that guy like Arachnid does can be really, really valuable. I'm not saying necessarily that it's a conscious decision by snipers to like avoid the other sniper or anything like that, but there are definitely, you see differences in playstyle and in the way that some snipers will they want to just stay alive. So rather than like go out of their way to risk death and peek the opposing sniper and get that kill, they'll just like peek everything else. But Arachnid never scared to peek his opposing sniper and will usually get the kill on him. So I just talked about Arachnid for way too long. I've been raving about him since before the season. So that though is the end of the silver recap for Lennon. So that's at 27 minutes. Not too shabby, Jaginator. One last look at the standings here. Do we really need to? I kind of did the whole thing. I said washed up one. We'll get to the standings later on in the predictions. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to the gold recap now. How about that? How about that? Where is it? There we go. And pop. Where there's that. Not that far back, I don't think. No, sorry, Bob. There it is. Not that one yet. That was match of the week. So we'll start off with, we'll just start off with Thunder and PMC. This was my team's match. This was 540 to 129. Thunder over PMC. Good game to PMC. This was the return of Ryan Emo, and Ryan was disputed, which we expect to happen every week. And we make damn sure that he has all of his evidence. So if you're looking for a spite dispute ever, he will have his demos and screenshots because we make him stream it to make sure that he's got it always. We double check everything because we ain't taking a forfeit loss because of missing evidence ever. And I would suggest that all teams do that with all their players, to be honest. If you got guys who you think might not be able to responsibly have their screenshots and demos, just make them stream it in Discord and double check it on them. Because, that would be a tough way to lose under any circumstances because a guy is missing screenshots or whatever. So, but Ryan ended up second top fragging there. 77 kills overall. Jules actually might have been 75. No, it was 77. Jules had 79. As you can see there, 32 on Axis for Jules, 47 on Allies. Ryan had 32 on Axis, 45 on Allies. J-Rod had a pretty good Allied half and a pretty good Axis half. Got 60 overall, not bad. I had nobody to kill at all on Axis. I was able to run to their spawn a little bit more on Allies and find kills, but still really not that much for me to get. Tox had 59 kills overall. Dorito had 62. So yeah, it was like 60 for J-Rod, 62 for Dorito, 59 for Tox, 43 for me, 79 and 77. For PMC, Paul was really up my ass a lot. He's so tough to kill. CK was just popping up at spawn all the time. I got killed by 9 a lot, too. But yeah, Lennon is a tough map. when you got fucking Jules and Ryan Emo. That's like, both of them, this is probably their favorite map to play in general. And, you know, I mean, it's just, they had, what is that, 79 and 77 kills. It's 156 kills between the two of them. Like, it's just, it's tough for anybody to do anything against that on any route. You know, like, it's just, you got two really good Lennon players going the same route with bars, STGs. It's just a tough break for PMC to have to come back against that on this map. But, you know, I mean, look at, like, it's not like they played poorly. Everybody was pretty similar score-wise and trying to do their jobs as best they can, but most of the time, even if you got a couple kills, you'd run into one of the Ryans, and they would end up getting a multi-kill out of it. So, GG to PMC. I don't want to dwell too much on our own match. Man, moving on to, well, I'll go to the over. I'll go to the over versus Slow Laura's match first, because I did cast this. This was a 528 to 148 win for over. No Name ended up with, let's see, 34 and 42, so 76 kills total. Way short of the 100 bomb that I was seeing if he could get. Colin, ringing for over here, actually put up 63 kills, it looks like. Had himself a good game. I was, again, watching this one. Coom 32 on Axis, 29 on Allies. Good game for him. 35 for Jizzy Boy on Allies. 27 on Axis. Really, everybody on over pretty strong, except for Mata, because he's sniping, and there's really just no kills to get as a sniper on this map if the rest of your team are going off. Raven with a good half with the bar, too. I think he kind of fell into the same trap on it, yeah, where he just didn't have anybody to kill either. You know, there's only so many kills to go around in any given match. There really is, like, a limited number of kills, number of respawns, etc., etc. And, like, you're not going to see ever a team realistically have 6 guys with, like, 35, 40 kills. That would be very, very rare. I should say more kills than that, probably, because I'm sure there's been times with 6 guys of 35 kills. That's not that much. But Slow Loris had Bromley ringing and Tom ringing. Tough match to have to ring, because you're playing against over on their best map. No Name. If you took any player on any single map and single route and said, like, this guy's the best at this thing, I'd say No Name on Lennon is Lennon Long with a rifle is better than anybody else on any other route in DOD. I think that's a pretty safe statement to make overall. So, tough match to have to come into, but, you know, Hildy did a pretty good job on Long against that, managed to get in some kills, but, you know, eventually No Name respawns and you die. There's just only so much you can do there. Really, it was, again, pretty equal kill totals across the board here for Slow Loris, but just so hard to get things going. No Name's everywhere. No Name is pretty much omnipresent on Lennon, and, you know, there's no escaping. There's no escaping the No Name. So, overall, I mean, I was watching No Name for most of this. I saw a few things happen for a few other guys, but it's a tough map to play. Nobody wants to play over on Lennon. These guys just don't lose on Lennon. Trust me, we scrim them on Lennon constantly. And the reason we do it is because we're trying to get better at Lennon. And losing is more valuable for actually improving at these maps. You know, like, you really, most of the time from a big win in a scrim, there's not much you can really glean from that information-wise. You're not going to improve too much as a team. So, like, we lose to over all the time on Lennon, and we've gotten better at Lennon for it. You know, it's just one of those things. But anybody's going to have a tough time against that team on that map. And, yeah, Slow Loris, they do fall to 0-8, I believe. Yes, 0-8 for Slow Loris. So a tough debut season for them. Really losing Austin at that point and not technically getting anything in return, that's tough. You know, Austin was one of the big reasons why they were in gold. That was, like, they requested it, like, Austin in particular wanted to be in gold. And I think if not for that, they would have probably been in silver, and they would have had a bunch of wins in silver, realistically. But obviously that's not the way it happened, so unfortunate, but good game to both teams. Hopefully, you know, Slow Loris is at least still having fun playing DOD, but, you know, it is just a really unfortunate situation the way that all went down there. But that was a 528 to 148 win for over on Lennon. And the next one, I really wish that this match had been going on at a different time, because wowee, was it close. 377 to 311 Icy Hot over Clinic. This was a big one. Clinic getting a W here would have bumped them up into a playoff spot, and then Icy Hot would have been at risk of dropping. However, Icy Hot was able to pull it off on the back of a Vertex 69. Nice bomb there, and Jesse with a big bar half. And what did he do on Axis? Pretty good Axis half with the Unter as well, 24. Williams Sick Blackwell, 28 with the car, and 23 with the Garand. Not bad. Overall, just a really close match. Candyman putting up some pretty big numbers there. 31 on Axis, 24 on Allies. Debo with 29 on Allies, 26 on Axis. Insam made his return here, which when they can deploy this lineup, man, Clinic can be really tough to play against, as we saw on Anzio, and they beat us. But really, overall, this seemed like it was a really intense match. That's a tough, heavy team to play against, and Matt and Jesse, they really play well together. As you can see there, like, you got Jesse being more of a pushing. I mean, he will prone like a real son of a bitch sometimes too. But that's what you need to do as a heavy. Sometimes you have to do that. Like, there's a difference between proning just to troll, which you see some people do in this game, and proning in a tactical way. Like, you have, like, there's situations where you're either going to die if you stay standing or crouched, or if you go prone in this spot, you might be able to get the kill and hold on to a flag or whatever. Or like you could survive this peak if you prone peek it versus just trying to, like, get a movie clip. I mean, yeah, I love getting movie clips, but when you're playing competitive, there's times where proning happens. So I know people trying to say things like ban the prone, that would be the most fucking ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, it's a part of the game. I don't think anybody has been really abusing it that much. Maybe Till on occasion, but he's doing it just to troll. He's not doing it to actually get kills. If you know James Decker, he's doing it just to troll. So, but yeah, and then you got Matt, who will play a lot more passive, like we saw it on Shamil too, where Matt will go triple windows predominantly and let Bees and Sick usually, I think, go underpass and kind of push. That's a good mix for a heavy tandem, is having two guys that understand one another's play style like that. And it shows. It shows in the results for them. Even when ICOut loses, by God, are they close to winning. Like, this team could easily be like fucking 7-1, 8-0 right now. At very least. But Clinic, so I'm going to look at the standing situation after this, after I do the full recap. But Clinic is now dropped out of the playoff spot, and as far as I know, they can't get back in now. I believe the playoffs are set, but I'm going to go over that in a second. Which is tough, because Clinic, obviously, in Week 3 with a big win over us and Thunder, looking like they were poised to go on and win a lot and make a push in their first season in gold after being silver champs, undefeated silver champs. But Debo did not play as much as he maybe should have. He was kind of skipping out on matches based on who they were playing. And then he got suspended for a week because of screenshots, which didn't help them at all. And yeah, so that's tough. Tough for Clinic. I think with Debo, they can realistically beat anybody on certain maps. Obviously, they beat us on Anzio, which, we were missing Tox, but whatever. Like, to us, we should win on Anzio against everybody. And we hadn't lost on Anzio in a match, I don't think, ever as Thunder, besides against, Animals team in the finals of the TPG Euro League for, I think, 3 straight seasons we lost to them. But as far as in the North American leagues, we had never lost on Anzio until that Clinic match. So, tough. I'm trying to think, unless maybe there's Anzio losses I'm forgetting, but I'm pretty sure, from what I remember, on the actual Thunder team, we had not lost on Anzio. Again, point being that Clinic, when they have their best 6 going, they are a tough fucking team to play against. Almost beat ICOut. Like, this is a very close match on Lennon. And with just a couple extra breaks going their way, they could have taken it here and really played spoiler to ICOut, who was a favorite coming into the regular season, but came up just a bit short. Austin, really nice half on Allies there, too. I didn't catch that the first time through. On Axis, he went positive as well. So Austin back in postseason form already. Modgers with a good Stas half there on Axis, going Stas bar. I like it. I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe B started off on the Stas and he started off on the SDG. No heavy strat, though. That's interesting. Just 2 Unters and a Stas. Let's get to the match of the week so I can then go over the standings right quick. The match of the week was a big one. Typical T3, however, kind of didn't turn out as you would expect. So it was a 461 to 167, kind of a blowout win for T3. Typical, obviously, no Scotty. But then they were also missing Nightmare. And, you know, Scotty, really solid player, the team captain. That's a loss right there. But then you lose your best player as well. And Nightmare, it's going to be tough to overcome that. You got Cage, Frank, Milo, Baron, Manor, and Timo playing. Manor had himself a good match overall, if I recall correctly. Yeah, pretty good job overall there, getting to take the bar. Milo, of course, strong overall. Timo, really good allied half. Frank was going long, tough route to be going. You know, you're dealing with Nick and Till, who will just find the most ridiculous spots to be in that you would never, ever think to check for any reason. And it worked. You know, of course it did. And for T3, Booten, Carbard had himself a really, really good match. 32 on Axis with the car, 33 on Allies with the bar, good enough for the top frag. Wow, I just clicked something else accidentally. Whoopsies. God damn it. And then Leo, also really, really good match overall there. 64 overall for him, going well with well, he went long on Allies, if I recall correctly, yeah. Oh, that's usually the case. And then, of course, Nick Patton, always rock solid. 26-19 and 30-16. He was actually, I think, like, just doing all right. Like, I think he was, like, which is weird because this is, like, the second or third time you've seen this with Nick. He'll be, like, 18-17 with, like, 3 minutes left, and then he'll go on, like, some ridiculous 7 or 8 kill streak and look like he was just doing great all half. It happened on Railroad 1 against us, too, where he was, like, just, like, he might have even been negative at this point in both halves of our RAILYARD match. And then on Allies, he goes on a ridiculous car streak through apartments that I think was, like, 9 kills. That ends in a double kill, on me and Jules. And then he's positive. And then same thing on Axis. Gets 2 kills with a sniper from 4-way, picks up a bar, gets 9 more kills, and ends up positive. Like, he just finds ways to go on these insane fucking runs and get himself back on the right side of the even line there. It's something to behold. PDX, of course, always doing his job. Bud is his heavy partner. Those guys have great chemistry together, and this is a map that favors chemistry on the heavies, although Booten actually heavied. PDX only heavied for Axis side, the old Grand STG. And then, obviously, tough for Typical. Man, like, you lose Nightmare. Obviously, this is Lennon, so the sniper's not as important, but, you know, somebody like Nightmare makes a really big difference defensively in particular. That seems to be where he thrives most, is sort of like being a turret, where he will just not miss any shots and, like, holding your first flag, holding the double cap. That can come up big on a map like this, where there's a lot of, like, flurries at your own first flag, and having a guy that can kill 3 and 4 at a time with a sniper rifle there goes a long way. Or holding on to a double cap, because he'll cycle all around the map all the time. You know, you could see him as the last guy alive at well with a sniper rifle and clutch it out, 3 or 4 kills. So, you know, I mean, tough situation for Typical there, but big win for T3. And that will do it for the gold recap, and that will put us into the standing situation here, which has gotten spicy. God, I love balls. Where the hell is this fucking window now? Am I stupid? Don't answer that. Oh, that's why. Never mind. I figured it out. Wait, what? Where the hell did it go? Am I fucking... There we go. All right, so. In the standings page. So, after that victory, what we have here is a tie at the top, with Typical just behind at 5-3. However, T3 beat Thunder, so they've got the tiebreaker there automatically, and they beat Typical. So, in a situation where Typical were to win this week to go to 6-3 over Thunder, which would push them to 6-3, and if T3 were to lose and have a 3-way tie, this is actually the way the standings would play out. Like, it's already that way. T3 would have the win over both teams. They'd be at the top. Then Thunder Typical would be 1-1, so it would go to point differential. So the only way for Typical to pass Thunder in a tiebreaker now would be to win by 1,269. That's not an exaggeration. So if Typical could win by 1,269 this week, they can overtake the second spot on Railroad 2. that would be insane, and I would definitely dispute one of you. I don't know who. Whoever happened to get the most kills at that point, if you guys can win by 1,269 on Railroad 2, a map where scores are not that high. That would be something to marvel at. You'd have to use a dispute at that point. Because, wow, 1,269. You just don't see that happen. Not even on Harrington, 1,200. It's crazy. So, point being, though, the playoff seeds are pretty well clinched here. I checked the tiebreakers. Clinic, like, they could end up at 4 and 5, right? They play against Slow Loris, so they, like, they can absolutely get that win. So they would be 4 and 5, and then say Icy Hot were to lose, then they're 4 and 5. But Icy Hot beat Clinic, so they have the tiebreaker there. Over and Clinic, they could tie them there for that last spot. But where is Over versus Clinic? Over, Thunder, what the fuck? Over versus Clinic, so Over got the win there. So Over as the tiebreaker as well. PMC, say PMC were to lose this week, 4 and 5. They'd be tied with Clinic if they won for that last playoff spot. Would Clinic PMC, where's that? Clinic PMC, PMC got the tiebreaker there. So unfortunate for Clinic that their wins came against, Thunder, Typical, and who was the other one? Slow Loris, I think? Yeah, Thunder, Typical, and Slow Loris. So that just the teams, I mean, they almost beat T3 in the first week too. Like, really, things could have gone a totally other direction for Clinic too this season. Just a couple of tough luck losses and close matches. They could have had some serious heat going into the playoffs with tiebreakers over 2 of the top 3 seeds, but mathematically out now, unfortunately. And the only real movement that can happen here now, if I recall correctly, was PMC Over and Icy Hot. Those spots, they can swap around. And I'm not going to get into the math too much on this because I've already done it literally like 4 times to explain to people, and my voice already hurts. Icy Hot, let's see here. PMC and Over. So there's a win for PMC, Over. So PMC is the tiebreaker on Over. Icy Hot, PMC, where's that? Icy Hot, PMC. PMC is the tiebreaker there as well. So PMC guaranteed to be the 4 seed because I believe Typical beat them. I'm like 90% sure of that. Where is it? Typical. Yep, Typical beat PMC. So it's all basically done. Really, so the only way that this can swap around too much would be like, who plays each other here? You have Over versus Icy Hot. That's a big one. So Over, if they were to lose to Icy Hot, would drop to the last seed, and Icy Hot would jump up here. Since PMC has the tiebreaker over them, they can't jump any higher than that. If PMC won. If PMC loses, then Icy Hot would jump over them to the number 4 spot, obviously, because then they'd have the better record, and that's all that really matters, unless you're tied. And then Over, oh, that was what I just did. And then obviously T3 PMC. PMC with a tough matchup to try to take the win on. If they were to lose, say they lost and Icy Hot won, then Icy Hot would jump to 4. These guys would be tied in Over and PMC. PMC would get the tiebreaker, so they would go to 5. 1, 2, 3, Icy Hot, PMC, Over. Yes, so it would be 5 and 6, PMC and Over. So yeah, there's still a little bit of room, but in general, things are pretty much clinched at this point. Silver has a lot more to figure out, seeding-wise, in their division. Normally, this would be the segment of the show where we would discuss things with our special guest, but we don't have a guest. We don't even have a second host this time. So instead, I'm going to take a sip from this Balls. I should really be enjoying this more. It's my last Balls. Anyways, I'm going to pop in a little more. My head hurts from talking this much, guys. Like, I barely had a chance to breathe. But we've got 49 minutes into this cast. Dodcast, sorry. It's not a shoutcast. And we're on to the predictions now. Look at how I'm trucking along here. I'm just trucking along. I hate it, though. I hate talking this much consecutively. I really do. It starts to make me nauseous at a certain point because I'm just not breathing. Anyways, oh wait, Gold Player of the Week. I forgot to do the Gold Player of the Week. Let's check. Gold Player of the Week. Where you at? Jules Winfield. 79 kills, top fragger, 1.98 KD ratio. I believe he went like 79 and 39. No, 79 and 40. Could be wrong. Gonna double check that. I just did the math really quick in my head. 79 and 40. Okay, yes, he did. Wow, look at that. Jesus. Okay, anyways. Where were we? Back to the schedule. So I believe I can just leave this part on. Yeah. Hot topics last week before playoffs, just in case I haven't made that very abundantly clear for everybody now. We've already done that. So getting on to the predictions here. I'm not going to get into all the... There's too many fucking makeup matches for me to really get into, so I'm not going to do it. Okay, I'm just going to ignore it. Just going to ignore it unless I see something really, like, glaring, like it comes up on its own. I already went over the fact that Love Me Not plays Price is Right in a makeup match. If I had to predict that, I have no idea, because I don't know who the fuck's going to play for Love Me Not. As far as I know, they got, like, 2 guys left on the team. Although Colin and Devin, I mean, maybe they could win some matches 2-on-6. Unless Low Carb has unretired for the 7th time this season, what the fuck, Brett? Would you just stop? Just play out the season, bro. Stop saying you quit, or I'm going to beat you up with my leg. I'm not sure what the other situation is there with their roster, but it's a tough one. Price is Right plays Washed Up on Harrington. Was that already done once, too? Washed Up played Love Me Not. Okay, so Washed Up looks like a pretty good Harrington team. What did Price is Right do? They didn't get to play it. Okay. That's a tough one. Huh. Washed Up, Price is Right on Harrington. You know what? Because I like drama, I'm going to go with Washed Up. I'm going to say Washed Up wins that one by 46. On a big performance by Arachnid. Yeah. Big performance by Arachnid. Big performance by War Within as well. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I mean, it very easily, Price is Right could win that map without a question by a lot. Could go the total other direction. Secretly needs to have a big performance too. Really, I think they need to just overwhelm them with all 6 guys coming up big. Like, they need to have everybody show up with their best that day, and then Bullet finding the best way to just really throw off their whole rhythm. Taylor and Allen on Mountain. Like, you can't let those guys run all over you on Harrington, which they will be very capable of doing. You need Bullet Fodder to be that real wrench in their side to get their tempo, their rhythm off a little bit, and kind of open up that ladder spot for them to hold down instead and leave Arachnid with enough space to really be able to flow around in mid. I assume Defrag would go middle with him. I don't know for sure. All 3 of their rifles are very capable of going mid. You might even see 2 of them go mid with them. Which, as a sniper, you would hope a lot of the time, because you just get tired of getting... Like, Harrington is the worst map in DoD. I don't care what anybody says. You can nade everywhere from everywhere, and that's fucking stupid. It's so stupid. The map is literally just like, who gets the best respawn timer this time? Okay, they broke mid. And then the other team comes and respawns, throws their nades from inside their spawn, and a second too late on breaking mid. So now that team has mid for 30 seconds until nades come flying over this ceiling and over this ceiling and over this ceiling. Oh my god, we're all dead. Like, it's really become stupid. It didn't used to play like that because you used to only have like 1 or 2 guys on any given team that could throw all those nades. Now everybody can throw all these nades on a dime. Just stop, throw that nade from anywhere. It's just gotten to be too much. Like, those spawns either need to be like moved back, or they need to put skyboxes up that can't have a nade go right through them in those spots, because it's fucking excessive now. Like, anybody who's played Harrington in a competitive setting in the last 6 months, like, like, if you played against guys who know what they're doing nade wise on this map, that's all it takes. Like, they don't even have to be able to shoot you. You get 2 nades, you just go throw them. Like, you hear the calls, well, there's 2 double doors, and you're a long Harrington player on Axis side. Well, guess what? You can just nade both those guys with 1 nade, realistically. You can nade anyone from anywhere. We've almost got nades from long, Axis 2 to ladder. That's stupid. I mean, this map played fine when people weren't just crazy about throwing all the nades from all the places, but now it's gone too far. Anyways, I'm really dwelling on Harrington. It's just such a stupid fucking map. So, no-go versus bedtime now. little bit of a break here for No-Go, trying to keep that last playoff spot in the upper half of the bracket. They draw the brand new team in Bedtime Now, which has had a rough start to their playing career here. You figure it'll probably be Chu, Sean, Johnny, Beluga, Spanky, maybe Luca or Hoolies. I think they've had basically every one of their players play at different times here. And had ringers play, which, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But not No Name, please God. That's insane. That's just insane. And then for No-Go, they've been missing Spoon. I'm not sure if he's going to be back this week. He is probably their best player. He's definitely got the most frags per half for them. So, of course, Matthew Dedro. Let's just assume Spoon is going to be playing. Yanni, I don't think can play anymore. I think he's officially no longer available. I thought that last week and I was wrong, but I think maybe this week it'll definitely be it. Saf, of course, Neri, great third rifle. She even heavied on Anzio last week in a win, so she's proven that she can do it all with all that that skill and experience she's got to bring to the table. Apple definitely will be playing, and Louis definitely will be playing, who's been very strong in his return to No-Go after dipping out on them last season to go play for T3. He came back. He's leading the way, leading by example, doing it for the boys and girl. I don't think Lurf will play, but that to me is the best case scenario for No-Go making a playoff push, is if they can get Jordan back. Because then you don't have to use Louis or Matthew or Dedro on a sniper. You can put them on the classes they really prefer to play and let Jordan, who has so much experience as a sniper all across the board. He showed it in his first match after not playing DOD in fucking ages. Came in sniping against, I think it was Recoil, who was one of the best snipers in Silver. Held him down pretty well on one half. Had a little bit of a tougher time on Axis because it's not really like Donner in that regard. It's much harder to snipe on Axis. And Lurf looked great. If they could get Jordan back, No-Go can absolutely make a push in the playoffs. I think they could do it even without him, but I think that puts them like really right there. You get a really just bona fide experienced sniper, a guy who can like in-game lead for you, make calls. And yeah, all that experience goes a long way in these big playoff match scenarios, especially like a best of 3. And yeah, but this match, I mean, you know, it's No-Go, Bedtime Now. No-Go's been doing really well all season. Bedtime Now haven't yet found their footing, much like myself. Railroad 2, No-Go, I feel like their players very capable on this map. And a lot of them really love this map, to be honest. So I think that this is going to be a No-Go victory. I'm going to say by like 120-ish. I mean, it could go way more. It could be way less, you know. I mean, Bedtime Now had a really close match against CIS, who's been playing very well. But yeah, you know, I got to see something. Much like with Slow Loris and Gold, I got to see something out of Bedtime Now before I'm going to be predicting them to really hang in there with the top 4, top 5 team. But we'll see. You know, like, they got good players there. They just really haven't had the chance to mesh together yet. The fact that they even put the team together at the last minute like this is really helpful to them. I can't believe we're already at a fucking hour. I couldn't avoid not shutting up about Harrington. Couldn't. Unbelievable, Cory. Moving on. So this is a tough call for the match of the week this week, too. Realistically, I think I would have to go with the Love Me Not sleepers. Just because I just did washed up sleepers, I should probably spread the wealth a little bit. I haven't got to cast much Love Me Not. So we're going to go with Love Me Not sleepers. They haven't played each other yet. That'll be interesting. If Love Me Not doesn't get 6, then it's washed up sleepers. Easy. So the next one is Price is Right, Moose Knuckle. Obviously, we've been talking a little bit about Moose Knuckle, getting their roster together. They've got Sean in here now, who's playing excellent. Quack Duck's been playing great. Bo has been playing excellent. And OS has been playing really well, getting better as the season goes on. You know, a couple other guys that have been getting in and doing okay, like Spade and Big Bird. But, you know, they still have yet to really figure it out altogether. And then, obviously, for Price is Right, I believe I have the lineup waiting for me. Oh, wait a second. So I actually Sunday, Love Me Not is going to be playing Price is Right, which I will definitely cast. So yeah, that's another thing. I will cast Love Me Not, Price is Right, which the Price is Right lineup will be Dillard, Cory, Taylor, Allen, Recoil, Caleb. I'll come back to that real quick. Anyways, I mean, I'm not going to dwell on this too much. Like, it's Price is Right versus Moose Knuckle. Moose Knuckle is getting better and better, but there's no way they're going to win this match. There's just no... I mean, Price is Right has been able to run up the score on people quite a bit. What the hell did I just do? Did I just fuck shit up? It kind of looks like I just fucked shit up. No, we're good. Anyways, I just switched the screens. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm going to say Price is Right, though, over Moose Knuckle. I mean, Sean will have a great match. I guarantee it. He's good at Railroad, too. Bo's been playing well week in and week out. Quack Duck in OS, too, but they're just going to get overpowered by Price is Right. Price is Right, realistically, are the favorites of Silver. They obviously took a loss to Love Me, Love Me Not, but Love Me, Love Me Not's roster is in absolute fucking turmoil until they figure it out. You can't really call them the favorites if you don't know if they're going to even be able to play this week, let alone in the playoffs. So Price is Right, I'd say, is the favorites of Silver. Love Me Not just behind them. I think Price is Right is going to take this by, like, I'd say, like, 350. You know, again, anything can happen, but Railroad 2, they have a lot of good Railroad 2 players. Cory, Recoil, Caleb and Train, you know, loves Train. Taylor and Apartments. These guys know how to play this map. Dillard, great in 4-way and in Ticket. Cory, great at long. It's going to be just impossible for Moose Knuckle. After that, we've got so I'll go to the Fast Lores CIS. This is a bit of a rematch from previous week, right? Fast Lores played CIS recently. So Fast Lores, I'm going to just assume that they have the same lineup as last week. Laura, Stealth, Twist, Hey Hi, Lynx, and Red Dog was who they had playing in one of those matches at least. They also had Stamp in for Lynx in one of those maps, I believe. And then for CIS, it's been a lot of Riley Staffer, Hong Kong Mafia, Shika, Deutschland, Azilla, and Firo, sometimes PKL and Azilla swap. This could be a really interesting match. Not sure how much CIS has really got to play Railroad 2, but I think that their playstyles are really, really good for this map. Of course, Stealth, excellent sniper on Railroad 2. I think that Stealth versus Shika or Hong Kong Mafia, whichever one ends up sniping, will be an interesting battle. Both those guys in CIS have proved they can snipe with the big boys. Like, it's not a fluke. So if they could hold Stealth down and not let Stealth go too crazy, that could be very, very good for CIS. Riley Staffer, he will go off if Firo gets to play. He has been great. He just dropped like a 70 bomb last week in a match that they lost by a lot to Price is Right. Firo dropped 70-something on Price is Right, the #1 team. So get him in there, CIS. Get your best 6 out there for this week. You know, like, let's see it. Really, really interested to see those guys keep improving. This is a kind of a tough call here. You know, Fast Lores, Laura also good at Railroad 2 in the same ways as a lot of the other people I've been speaking about being, like, really favorable for Railroad 2. I imagine she'll get to go long. I guess I don't know that for sure, but I think she'd prefer to go long or Ticket on Allies. But yeah, so it's a tough call. It's a tough call because CIS just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And I expect eventually they're gonna take a surprising win. I think this is a good map for it if they can execute like a Ninja Cap or two. It's going to be tough, though, with the experience of Fast Lores to get that. They will be aware of ninja situations, and if their communication are as good with each other as I suspect it is, I think Fast Lores can take this by, like, 50. Say 43. 43 points. Victory for Fast Lores. It'd be cool to see Lynx get to play again. It's really fun to see Lynx playing at all. Like, he was a really underrated player back in the day. It's kind of cool that he's back at all. And he's doing well whenever he does play, which I don't think he's been scrimming all that much. So it's kind of impressive that he can do it. But, you know, having Hey Hi in there, he was incredible last week. Got to be able to match up with the big fraggers of CAS like the Firo, the Riley Staffer, and the Hong Kong Mafia Sheikah tandem of snipers. So saying Fast Lores by like a cap-ish. But I fully believe that CIS can take this match and surprise a lot of people. And it would be cool to see. A team started from the bottom, now they it. So Washed Up Sleepers is a rematch of the match of the week on Lennon. Not going to be the match of the week this time unless Love Me Not can't get 6 for their matchup. I'm just going to assume they do, though. Washed Up Sleepers, we just saw Sleepers lose by like 60, I think it was, to Washed Up on Lennon. Washed Up was Bullet Fodder, Bromley, Secretly, Arachnid, Defrag, and War Within. And Sleepers will have Vanaki back this week. That's a big difference maker. Chi, Vanaki, Burn, LZL, Matt, and Zaps, I imagine will be their 6. And we've seen sleepers pull some shit off on Railroad 2. This is a tough one. Washed Up just won. They just beat them. So they've got the one up on them. I mean, this map strikes me as a map that Arachnid will be excellent on. He snipes a lot like I do. And I love sniping on Railroad 2, and I think that he probably will as well. That's going to be tough for Burn to contend with. I mean, I've seen Burn go on some crazy sniper streaks on this map, even when he's not sniping. But for sleepers, getting Vanaki back, that's the big key here. Can Vanaki make up that, like, 80-point difference or whatever to bring a win forward rather than just lose by a little bit? I think he can. I think he's very capable of that. He's been known to drop 70 bombs. Damn, though. I assume Bullet going train car versus Burn. Like, Bullet's just going to hold it. I assume he'll go train car, at least. I don't know that for a fact. But that's what I would do, at least on Axis. Maybe not on Allies, because he's definitely capable of raising hell in apartments on Allies. Just being a nuisance. You know, maybe send a Bromley train car on your Allied half. Man, I don't know. I picked sleepers last week, and they did lose. And I feel like I may have jinxed them by doing that. You know, I think rationale, logic would tell you got to pick Washed Up. They just won on Lennon, which you said was like a favorite map of sleepers, right? Is Railroad 2 are all the maps favorite sleepers? You may ask me that. Yes, DOD is a favorite map of sleepers. They love this shit. And they show it in their activity level and the way that they play together. But Washed Up is very, very motivated right now. Like, they can smell that top playoff spot, and they have a chance to really push their way there. Sweeping sleepers would be a hell of a statement to make. Sleepers were one of the big favorites coming into the season, and all throughout the season. This is a must-win for sleepers heading into the playoffs, though. Like, they're going to bring their fucking A-game. No doubt in my mind about that. Speaking of the Devil, Defrag just joined DOD on my Steam Friends list. I'm wondering if that's a sign that I'm supposed to take Washed Up here. But I gotta believe in sleepers. You know, like, sleepers I'm always raving about. I'm always raving about Washed Up too. This might be my favorite matchup in the whole division, like, just as far as how they match up with each other, playstyle-wise and skill level-wise. I gotta go with sleepers just because I can't let down Chi like that. I'm gonna say by 6 points. And I fully acknowledge the fact that Washed Up, I mean, it's not going to take, like, a crazy, crazy effort to win this match. They're such a good team, and they show that every week. Barely lost to Price is Right on Halley. That's, like, you know, one of the big difference between them not being in the first seed right now. But, yeah, I'm going to take sleepers by single digits, but Washed Up, like, I fully expect them to be able... They could win this match by a lot, realistically. Like, with the guys they got on this team, their skill level and experience on this map, they could easily blow this out of the water. And there's not going to be anything that anybody can do about it if they come out flying and they understand the intricacies of playing Railroad 2, which there are a lot of. There are a lot of minutiae that go into strategizing on this map. Not everybody is totally aware of, and there are some things that you can bust out to really throw off the other team and have them caught off guard in a few different spots. And I expect that Bullet is fully prepared for that. But sleepers, this is a must-win. I think they're going to come out flying. I think they're going to have their A game, their best roster, and best classes on those guys. So I'm going to say sleepers by 6, but I think Arachnid's going to have like 73 kills this week, and that could be enough for them to win. So moving on, I feel bad picking against either of those teams because I do love watching both of them. But this is the match of the week now. Technically, there's 2 because there's a RAILYARD makeup match going on. But Love Me Not is the doubleheader match of the week, we'll just call it. Here we have Love Me Not sleepers first off on Railroad 2. So Love Me Not technically would be a doubleheader of railroads. This is the problem. I don't know what the fuck to expect from Love Me Not. You got Colin and Devin, of course. Just superstars. It seems as though Low Carb may be back playing now. Okay, another really top-of-the-level guy in silver. Coffee seems to be playing as well. Really good silver player. Nicholson, really good silver player. After that, I have no idea. I don't know. From what I understand, Tyson is not playing. Unless Scott's going to be playing. Now, if that's their roster, if it's Colin, Devin, Low Carb, Coffee... Colin, Devin, Low Carb, Coffee, Nicholson, KO. That's a fucking difficult roster for anyone in silver to beat. You know, even the teams I love, like sleepers and Washed Up. I don't know if I can pick anybody against that roster. I don't see anybody else who could be playing for Love Me, Love Me Not, unless it's PKL from CIS is just a permanent ringer, which is possible. And that's not KO. KO, regardless of like frag total wise, he brings a whole lot of fucking X factors and intangibles to the table with this team that they need and that they could do a lot with. But this is Railroad 2. Tough call here, man. So you got to figure Devin Heavy and Colin Rifling. Colin has dropped a lot of big numbers on this map in the past. Fuck me, man. This is another tough. I hate ever predicting against sleepers here. But Love Me, Love Me Not really, really want one of those top 2 seeds. And they're going to try to bring back whoever they can from this roster, I think, this week. Because they're going to be playing them and their big rivals in Price is Right, seemingly back-to-back on Sunday. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Love Me, Love Me Not here, purely on just like, I mean, Colin and Devin you can make an argument that they're the 2 best players in silver, you know? And Low Carb is right up there, like in the top 20 as well. After that, you don't really know. Like, Nicholson will definitely play, Coffey will definitely play, and I assume PKL is their 6, because I don't think Knockout can make matches at that time. And Sleepers could like, that lineup did just lose to No-Go. And if they can lose to No-Go, they can definitely lose to Sleepers. But I think that Love Me, Love Me Not is really going to be playing with some anger this week, trying to come out and retake some of the losses that they've had. Well, the 2 losses that they've had, make up for it, and end up with that first or second playoff seed. And this is the match they got to win first of all to get there. So I'm going to assume Love Me, Love Me Not, but it's going to be a close one. I'm going to assume like, say 33. No, I'm going to say 36 points. I think Sleepers are going to pull off a ninja cap. That's going to get it back close with about 6 minutes left. And then they're going to be trying to push for that last 6 minutes. And it's going to come down to that frag power. Love Me Not, though, in those situations, because they got some tempers going on over there. Much like myself, that communication can fall apart. And they can't afford that against a team like Sleepers, who will be communicating flawlessly. So, again, Love Me Not by less than a cap for sure. But if Love Me Not doesn't come out with like that 6 or something close to it, you know, Colin and Devin are going to have their work cut out for them too, you know, as those 2 big boy fraggers going up against a full team of really, really well-balanced players. And I hate picking against Sleepers ever, but man, Colin and Devin are on a fucking rampage this season, you know. So there's one more match. It's technically a RAILYARD makeup match. God damn, I've really gone too far this week. I'm up to an hour, 12 minutes, and I don't even have anybody with me here. So this is, I don't know when Price is Right Washed Up gets played, but that's another important one. But RAILYARD, we have Price is Right, Love Me Not. So I do have the lineup. Dillard, Cory Price, Taylor, Allen, Recoil, Caleb for RAILYARD on Price is Right. Again, Love Me Not. I'm just assuming that was their roster. Same one for the Railroad 2 match I'm going to go with. Now, Price is Right looked excellent on RAILYARD against a tough Sleepers team. They blew him out a little bit. And Love Me Not, I don't think played RAILYARD. Not sure. I could check. I'm going to check. How about that? I'm going to check. Love Me Not, Love Me Not, Love Me Not. They didn't play. Okay, so I have no idea what to expect from them on this map. Colin and Devin, of course, and Low Carb. Going to be the big X factors here for Love Me Not. But Price is Right, man. The way that they played this map would be tough for anybody to deal with. Cory and Taylor were just all over the place. Like, they were everywhere. On X's side, Taylor would be like double pushing blue with Cory, or right when Cory was pushing, Taylor would open the double doors. There's only so much you can do with that, you know? Like, especially with guys like that who are more than likely going to hit their shots. Like, you have to be really prepared and then also hit a tough shot. Man, this is a big one. Love Me Not beat Price is Right pretty easily on Solitude, but different lineup. They had KO playing for that one as well, which, you know, great experienced player there, and they will be missing that if he's not playing this week. If he is playing, that makes this a little bit different story, but I have no reason to believe that he is, because I believe it's default time, and as far as I know, he cannot play default time. So RAILYARD, Price is Right, Love Me Not, the big match to decide that top seed, because if Love Me Not beats Sleepers and Price is Right, Love Me Not has the tiebreaker. Yep, they would. No. No, yeah, they would, because they would have beaten them twice. If they were to lose this match and still end up tied somehow, though, Price is Right would get the tiebreaker. So, first things first, Love Me Not has to beat Sleepers, obviously. And then if they do that, and they beat Price is Right, they overtake that 1 seed, which would be a big W for Love Me Not. However, I am going to go with Price is Right on this map. I have no information about Love Me Not on RAILYARD, and Price is Right, I saw put up a huge performance against Sleepers. Love Me Not on this map, which involves a lot of communication, if they have like a ringer playing for them, hypothetically, that could get dicey. That could get real dicey. And this isn't really the kind of map that you'll see just like one guy go off and dominate your way to a victory. There's so much separation going on between some of these routes, and the rotations can get tough, and one bad rotation can lead you to get capped on and lose by 1 point. I've seen it. Just fucking trust me on this. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to take Price is Right. I think that no matter what, Love Me Not is going to have trouble ever getting blown out because of how good their top guys are. Like, those guys are going to frag with the best of them. They will probably out-frag everybody on Price is Right, if I had to guess. It's just a matter of if those role players can step in and do the same. Low Carb, I wouldn't really call a role player on this team. I think that he is also a big guy, but I don't know if he's going to play. I'm guessing he's playing, and he will probably perform well, and he can be a thorn in the side of anybody in apartments, because Low Carb will do like bullet fodder sometimes, and he'll find crazy spots to hide in and prone in and just tilt you off the map, and that's something Brett's good at, mind games. So, again, assuming, yeah, and then you have Coffee going train against Caleb. That's a pretty big train car matchup. That's fun. I definitely am going to cast this match, because looking at it 1 versus 1 in each spot kind of thing, like, it looks really, really compelling to me. You know, Dillard having to hold down Colin, Taylor having to hold down Devin, former teammates there, too. That's a little bit of a story. The G-Skill boys heavy in against each other. Like, there's a lot going on here behind the scenes, and I love that kind of shit. You know, I have a multimedia conglomerate in a 20-year-old video game that has like 200 players total in it. So, of course, you know I love when there's drama in those things. So, but Price is Right, I suspect will win this, and I think it will be by 71. Moving on. Was that it? Yeah. So there was technically 2 matches of the week. It's Love Me Not Sleepers, which is a first-time affair, and Love Me Not Price is Right on. It's a makeup match, but they're playing this week, so that's why. Just to clear that up for everybody. I hope that I've been streaming the right thing. I have. Okay. So moving on to gold, like I said, there's not too much ground to be made up in the standings here. The standings are pretty well set. There's only a little bit of movement that can even happen. You know, like if T3 were to lose to PMC and we were to win, we could jump to the 1 seed and T3 would go to the 2. But even if we lost to Typical, like they can't overtake us unless they win by, again, 1,269 points, which is a fucking lot. And even then, it would be a tie on points. So they have to win by 1,270 points, to be exact. Now that we clear that up. Anyways, right off the bat, Thunder versus Typical. Good luck, have fun. This will be a fun matchup. Lots of good skill players on both sides. I have to deal with Nightmare, which is always very fun. I love getting a snipe against Nightmare and Nick Patton and Paul, guys that are, you know, really make you think about the game inside the game as a sniper. You know, you got Frank and Milo and Cage and Manor and Baron. You know, maybe a Dialife gets in there. All sorts of just really, really good DoD players. And then up against the, you know, me, Toxinator, Jules, Ryan Emo, J-Rod, and Dorito. You know, it's Railroad 2, always good for crazy matches, especially for us. We always find ways to, it seems like we're just going to run away with it, and then we fall apart and lose by 1 point, lose by 3 points. That's our thing. So, you know, good luck, have fun. I wish I had somebody here to actually predict it. If I had to predict it, I'd say we lose by 2 points via last second cap out. After some kind of just total collapse, you know? So, good luck, have fun, Typical. I'm sure this will be a fun match for both sides and well fought. Rematch of the Halley match. So then we got, man, I think the match of the week realistically should be Icy Op versus Over, because this is the one that has a lot on the line here. These two guys are battling for like higher seed in these playoffs going forward. So, Solors and Clinic, where are we at here? Clinic, realistically, I don't know because their lineups have shifted around a lot, but I'm going to assume like Debo, Tom, Candy, Suave, Carpenter, Vic, but you could see like, any one of those guys out for Insom. And then for Slow Loris, of course, Hildy, DB, Hopper, Head Like a Hole, Chris W, and Shreddies. I believe that is the 6 that they've been using as of late. Railroad 2, of course, a map that snipers can really, really do some work on. Hildy, though, tough matchup up against Carp. Carp's having a great season. Maybe, deserves like most improved player kind of thing award this year, as my former Dodcast partner had stated. Looking great. Again, it's just a tough matchup for Slow Loris, but they can go out and try to get that first win here in the last week of the season. Pull a typical from last year season. Depending on who Clinic deploys this week, though, and Slow Loris has had to use ringers. Like maybe they pull out a good ringer for this, and that person can help sure things up for them. Clinic were very good on Railroad 2 last season, and Debo was very good on Railroad 2 last season. You put those two things together, it's going to be tough to beat him. However, don't know that Debo's going to play. I fully expect Hildy to put up big numbers. Hopper will have a good week. Chris, Shreddies will have a good week. DB will have a good... these guys will all play well. Nick Head Like a Hole, just getting back into the swing of things. I'm not sure how much he's gotten to play in these last couple weeks. If he's starting to play a bit, that's a guy who can surprise the fuck out of you, because he was a hell of a good player when he was playing all the time. But just came back, can't expect too much from him. And then for Clinic, Debo, like I said, expect to go big. He will go big. He went big on Railroad 2 last season every time he played it. Candy, very consistently good this season. Vic, very consistently good this season. But, all these guys. Carp, like I said earlier. It's lots of good players on both these teams. Clinic just kind of had a little bit of tough luck this season. But I got to take Clinic here. Got to take Clinic by, I'm going to say, 88. For the top frag performance coming from Debo. He will get 46 on allies. That's my guess. So that's Clinic over Slow Loris. I'm saying 88. That's what I'm going with. You wait and see. 88. So the next one, PMC T3. Tough draw for PMC for the final week of the season, where they're trying to maybe shore themselves up in that 4 spot. And, of course, T3, the number 1 seed right now, trying to lock that down with a win. They would, because there's no way Thunder can overtake them, because we don't get to play them again, unfortunately. T3 will have some version of, this is what, 8 players? They'll have some 6 of them. You never know. Sometimes 50 has to get in there. Sometimes it's Bud, sometimes it's Booten, sometimes it's P12. P12 hasn't really played much, so I'm going to assume Till, PDX, Leo, Patton, Bud, Booten. That's what I'm guessing. And for PMC, if they got their best 6, it's Gorilla, 9, Paintball, CK, Element, Grub. But you could see a Kaboom, you could see a Hypnotic, you could see a Justin Lynch. You never know. But PMC has had some upset W's on this map. I don't think this is as easy as T3 might expect it to be. Just looking at it on the surface, PMC played a hell of a match against a favorited Skull team last season in the playoffs to upset them. Lockdown. With this lineup, too, like this exact lineup. Very capable of replicating that to take down a T3 team, which would be bad for T3, because then if we win, then we overtake the first seed. So they don't want to do that. T3 are still the guys, though. They are the guys who beat the guys, always. And I don't think that they will take this challenge lightly at all. I don't. I don't. I'd like to think they will and maybe get caught and end up losing and giving us the 1 seed, just because that would be fun for us. But they won't. They're not those kind of guys that will take anybody lightly and get caught and surprised, puncher's chance kind of thing. I do think PMC is going to keep this very, very close, and this could come down to like a fucking single-digit win for T3 here again. PMC, this is the kind of map that can lead to some very, very upset type scenarios. Ninja caps, team wipes happening all at once, or like 5 out of 6 and the only guy alive is train car, those kind of situations where PMC thrive in that chaos. And, I expect PB to go off. He always does on this map. And Element will be a key factor here too. Paul, will play well, and him and Nick will kind of cancel each other out. as is standard on this map with any two, like, me and Nightmare will probably cancel each other out, too. Like, when snipers, especially in this day and age where we all play against each other all the time, we know each other's tendencies, it ends up being a cancel-out situation with those two lofts. And the only thing that you can really choose to do is kind of snipe off route. And then oftentimes you're getting into more trouble than you're doing good for your team when you do that. I mean, unless you can get pushed and, like, actually use that offensively to grab flags that you otherwise wouldn't have got. But in most cases, that's really, really risky to do with a sniper rifle going up against heavies and rifles in longer range scenarios. So I'm guessing it'll be kind of a cancel out where they'll both go, like, 25 and 18 both halves, like they'll each kill each other alternating and then get a couple picks off white, get a couple picks off four-way and balcony, and then die kind of thing. You will see Leo go into the allied sniper loft where you will never hit him, ever. Because he just goes up there with the Garand and just strafes back and forth. He doesn't even need to aim. Like, he's just strafing back and forth, there's no killing him. It's over. He'll strafe back behind the wall and, like, shoot through the wall with a Garand bullet, and you'll be behind another wall, and it'll go through both walls, and it doesn't even need to be on you, Like, it's a good strategy. If I had his ping, I would do the same thing. Because it's just impossible to deal with. Even if you have a sniper rifle and a perfect angle on him, like, you have to then deal with the sandbag being a rough hitbox, the sniper loft being a fucked up hitbox. Him in interp situations. Like, there's all these things you have to deal with. And as annoying as it is, it's the right thing for him to do when he does it. And that can be frustrating for a sniper. But, I mean, T3, great on this map. They beat us last season, obviously, on a map that we really love to play. It's going to be tough for PMC to overcome that. I think they will keep it very, very close. This will be T3, I will say, by 19. That's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. I mean, of course, it's T3, so they could vary. Like I said, with the Lennon versus Typical, like, it very well could be close, but of course, Typical missing Nightmare and missing Scotty. But more like Nightmare, we expected to play for that match, and then he wasn't there. Scotty, we knew was suspended. In this case, I mean, we know what the lineups will roughly be, so it shouldn't be too much of a deal, unless Paul is on call that day, and so he doesn't get to play, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty damn close. PMC play well on this map, and it really favors their play style. PB and CK and Element on the rifles all know their routes, like lockdown style. CK, when he gets going on this map, can be such a fucking pain in the dick, man. Such a pain in the dick. He's running around like J-Rod. You've seen it like J-Rod last season against Over. When you have that kind of play style and things are going right for you, you can really cause problems at spawns. And then you add in like the nade factor with CK that can lead to even more multi-kills. But yeah, PMC, all of them going to have to be on their A game. Hopefully they've been scrimming as much as possible to get ready for this. I mean, they're guaranteed to be in the playoffs. So really all these matches, like, is just, there's some seeding that can change. But yeah, anyways, I just went way too hard in this matchup. Where are we here? Oh my god. Okay, moving on. I said T3 by 19, I think it was. Whatever. So the match of the week, this is the one that has, like, the biggest playoff stipulation added onto it here. Icy Hot versus Ova. Did they already play each other? I do believe. Where is it? There it is. Icy Hot beat Over via last 20-second cap out on RAILYARD. Vertex with a ninja cap. Won by 8 points. And that's a 40-point cap out. So they were down hard at that point. They were down, and the only way they could win was a cap out, and Vertex fucking just pulled them up by their underwear and said, "We're going to win this fucking match, boys." And he just carried them off, hand in pants, right by the butts, and carried them over the finish line. Anyways, enough of that very vivid imagery. For Over, it'll probably be Kumkum, Mata, hopefully Saka. Caffrey, I keep thinking is coming back and hasn't yet, so I'm just going to assume he's not. No Name, most importantly, though. And then Raven and Jizz, probably. Kumkum, Mata, Saka. No Name, Raven, Jizz. That's 6, yeah. And for Icy Hot, of course, they put out the same 6 always. It's Modgers, it's Jesse, it's Bees, it's Vertex, it's William, it's Austin. This is a tough one. So this is a rematch, interestingly enough, of Railroad 1. So very, very similar. And Over in that match had one guy go positive. It was No Name, of course. He was doing just crazy shit and carrying them this close to a victory. Like I said, 20 seconds, I believe it was, at their way. It might have even been less than that when Vertex pulled off that ninja cap. Man. That was also the match where Jesse hit that fucking insane STG shot. If you haven't watched the frag of the week, by the way, I should have said this right at the beginning. But Laura got the frag of the week out for RAILYARD. It is excellent. Really some of the best quality I've seen from an online streamed video in DoD. Like, she got that shit down pat. It looks crispy as a motherfucker. Really, really well done to her on that frag of the week. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots of cool clips in it. I don't know why Nick's long streak against us cut off after the first 2 kills, but I'm okay with it because I don't need the PTSD, to be honest with you. But yeah, anyway, so Over versus Icy Hot. Man, I don't know. So Over sometimes on the railroad maps get just so out of sorts. Like, they're getting kills and it makes no sense. They'll just not go for mid. They just go for more kills. And then they all die pushed up and they give up mid and they give up a full cap. Like, if Over just played this map with capping out in mind instead of just racking up the kills, they would be such a pain in the ass to play on it. Like, when we play them, there's so many times where we'll be like team down. And we're like, oh, they're going to get mid, better hold the 1 and the 2. And instead they just like push 4-way or like push white steps and nobody ever gets on mid. Or they do like 30 seconds later when we've just primed nades to throw at mid, you know? Like, it's maddening even when playing against them. You're like, why are they doing this? Like, they could be winning this match right now, and for some reason they're just like not coming together to cap the double cap and go for a full cap. I don't know if it's just like a communication thing or if it's a legit strategy they're trying to employ, but it has not worked for them so far. And it was happening on RAILYARD too. Like, No Name really held them in that match when it, for all intents and purposes, they should have lost by like 3 caps, given the way that like everything else was going for both teams. You know, you have one guy go positive on a team, you should never win those matches. Realistically, those are matches that you should not win when your team on average is dying way more than it's killing, and you've got one guy who went even or positive. That just shouldn't happen. But it did. And Icy Hot, I'm sure, is going to be prepared for that potential scenario and be trying to look to isolate No Name and take him out of the equation. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be like, how can we, like, what nades can we throw? Who can we send around, et cetera, to try to really take No Name out of this game to where, like, if he's getting kills, they're not going to be very high impact kills. They will be prepared for that. And it probably won't matter because No Name will probably still get at least 70 kills. He always does. I think he's averaging like 33 kills a half. So he's basically averaging 70 kills a match. Pretty much. And but for Icy Hot, you know, you got the big boys. You got the Vertex, you got the Bees, you got the Sick, you got the Jesse, you got the Austin, you got the Modgers. Like, all these guys are capable of going off. It's going to really come down to Vertex versus No Name, right? Those are the two. Like, they'll kind of cancel each other out frag-wise and route-wise. Then after that, say if Caffrey is actually there and Sokka is there, you know, those guys all can't, like Caffrey and Sokka versus, you know, the Modger or the Jesse and the Sick. These guys it's going to come down to those utility role players, and I think it'll come down to the snipers. And Austin is really, really good at this map, and I know Mata doesn't love it. You know, it's not that he's not good at it, but he really doesn't like it, and he seems to have more success when it gets like the game gets really chaotic, and he doesn't have to like hold on to the sniper rifle. He can just kind of run around, push 4-way, like pick up a car, you know, push into apartments with a bar, whatever. Which can be useful against certain teams with certain play styles. I'm not sure if Icy Hot is the best place for that because they will usually have at least one guy playing just like lockdown defense in all situations between Modgers and William on each of those classes. But, man, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to ever pick against either of these two teams. You know, Icy Hot, like I keep saying, Icy Hot could easily be undefeated this season. Like, their losses were so close to being wins. Like, the one against us looks deceptively not close. Like, I think it ended up being like 100 points, but in reality, they were like this close to capping out and winning for like the entire fucking second half. And then we ended up capping out like the very, very end when it was kind of just like, well, we already won. You know, I don't think that they were really, you know, like trying to stop. I don't remember, to be honest, at this point now. Solitude, I tried to just out of my mind. It's the only map that's arguably worse than Harrington. Man, you know, like, I think that was Over's chance to beat them on RAILYARD, and giving up that ninja cap the way that they did was just so backbreaking. It's going to be tough for them to replicate those results unless they have both Caffrey and Saka in there too, again, because Caffrey, man, missing Caffrey for that team, he really gives them just another level where you don't just have to worry about like their big fragging rifles in Jizz, Saka, and No Name, when you also have to worry about Caffrey over on the heavy routes. Like that's where Over's a scary team. If you're telling me that Over's going to have both Saka and Caffrey playing this week too with No Name, I'm going to take Over on this map. By a really close fucking margin, regardless. Like, I would say in that case, it's like a 10-point win for Over. If they're not going to have Caffrey, I think ICOT will take it by like 35-40. Over could totally surprise everyone and change, like have a sit down and figure out where it is that they go wrong on Railroad 2. If they can just nail down that one problem they have where they'll get all the kills and just not cap mid, that alone would make this a very different match. But they have not done that yet. Like, playing against them on Railroad 2 for the last however many months now, it's the same thing every time. Like, they can put up frag numbers with the best of them. Obviously, No Name, I think most people would agree, the best player in the game right now. And he's very capable of killing 4, 5, 6 of you at a time and opening the map up entirely. But even when that happens, they seem to not go for mid. If they start doing that, though, then it's a scary, scary proposition for the rest of the league. But I'm just going to assume they're not, because we just played them on Railroad 2 recently, and that was the same thing that was happening again. It was like deathmatch. Like we would all die, and we'd be like, oh, like we need someone to break mid, and then we'd be spawning, and it's just like, you never even saw 1 out of 2 on the mid cap. They just like run by it. And even if in their minds it's like, well, it's just a scrim, who cares? Well, it's also happening in the match. It still happened in the match on RAILYARD and when we played them on Railroad 2 last season. So those habits are still bleeding over into the matches. So really, Over just needs to focus on the actual map control, getting flags portion of this matchup. And if they can get some scrims in and really lock that down, ICOT might be in a little bit more trouble than I'm expecting right now, especially, like I said, if they're going to be having Caffrey and Saka both in this week too. Raven's been playing excellent as well on the heavy, so it's not like they can't win if they don't have Caffrey. They can definitely win. I just think prediction-wise, I just really want to see Caffrey fucking play again. Like, I don't know where the guy's been. He's just gone, and he is like a high-impact player in the whole league that Over really relies on to get frags on the other side of the map from No Name most of the time. And for ICOT, Vertex and like I said, Jesse and Matt, the routes that they're going, I'm actually not sure what the train situation will be. Like, Bees goes train sometimes, Matt goes train sometimes, depending on the halves. I've seen Jesse go train on one half too. They're just they're really well-oiled heavy machine. They understand each other's playstyle real well. And sometimes they swap Bees and Jesse, and one of them thirds, the other one heavies. So. And no matter who it is that's going with Modgers or going with Jesse or going with Bees, they understand each other very well. And that bodes well for them on a map like this where apartment control is paramount to the rest of the map. So I'm taking ICOT unless Over has Saka and Caffrey, like they're big 6 playing. And then I'm taking Over by 10 points. If they remember to fucking cap middle when they kill 5 or 6 guys. Like, please, guys, just cap mid. Just cap mid. I know you can do it. You just got to do it a few seconds earlier. Like, you just got 5 kills. The respawn timer is 10 seconds from that first kill. Nade timer is 5 seconds. Just start capping mid quickly, because if you wait 5 seconds and then someone's nading over the top of the allied spawn, that nade's going to blow up right before you get the cap. Or from connector, or whatever. Like, you just got to get on that cap a little bit sooner. And if they do that, Over is a force to be reckoned with on Railroad 2, because that's really like the only reason they lose on that map. It's just not capping mid. So we'll see. I don't know. That's the match of the week for sure, though. A lot on the line there, obviously. Just double-checking, looking at the standings. They have the same record. Winner of this will jump up. PMC playing T3. If they win, they have the tiebreaker over everybody. So they're stuck there no matter what. But if they lose, that's where one of these two teams can jump up over top. As I said, the playoffs are clinched for the 6 participants. Clinic and Slow Lords mathematically eliminated, but a little bit of movement that can happen in seeding. I guess if PMC were to win, who won typical versus PMC? Wow, really? Okay, so it's getting a little crazy. Who is typical beat? Who has typical beat? Typical beat over, so they have the tiebreaker there. Typical loses to Thunder. Typical beat Icy Hot as well. Okay, so they have the tiebreaker there. Typical beat Slow Loris. Typical beat PMC, so they have the tiebreaker there. Okay, never mind. So typical can't fall out of that spot. So yeah, typical guaranteed third place. They cannot move at all. PMC with a loss could fall beneath the winner of Over Icy Hot. With a win, they clinch 4. And then Over Icy Hot decides the next spot, and then that decides the last spot. So that is the mathematic situation here. Let me check the time. We're at 1:39, 57, 58, 59, 60. 1 hour, 40 minutes. I shaved off about 30 minutes this time. Yippity-doo-dah. I was really trying to be like an hour 15, and I just had to start talking about fucking Harrington, didn't I? Who did this to me? Who hurt me? Everyone did on Harrington, and usually with a nade. Anyways, that does it for this week's Dodcast. Again, sorry it's just me this time. Tony, like I said, real life things going on. Hopefully, everybody can send him some well wishes for all that to be resolved. I don't know exactly what it is. If I did, I probably wouldn't tell you anyways because it's real life stuff. But regardless, he's not here, and if he can't come back realistically in like a reasonable course of time, then I'll need to find a replacement special guest host. I'm going to probably do it where it's like a new guest host each week if it comes down to this, rather than just have one guy take over the job. Because then when Tony comes back, I'm going to have an awkward combo. You know, I don't want to do that. No one wants awkward combos. But that will complete the regular season's worth of predictions. Next week, we'll have the recap of the final week of the regular season. We'll know where everything stands headed into the playoffs. And I imagine I'll do a whole separate Dodcast for the playoff predictions, the pre-playoff setup, all that jazz. Once we know everything is really locked down in ink, that can be something we can look into for the next episode. But I'm guessing I'll just do a recap next week, keep it a short episode, quick maybe a playoff preview, and then do a big one for the whole playoff picture in the same week. 2 episodes. I know what you're thinking. He can't even get 1 episode out most of the time. How's he going to do 2? Ha. Ha ha. Balls. Okay, so that does it for the Dodcast, episode 10. It's in the can. Thank you guys for watching. If you've made it this far, I doubt anybody has, but if you have, go watch Laura's RAILYARD Frag of the Week. It's really, really good. Like, the quality is fucking mind-boggling. Great syncing, just great editing all around. Maybe a little bit too many of those twitchy effects, but, you know, some people do like that too, so it's really just a matter of preference at that point. That was my only complaint with it, honestly. Like, it really is that good. So go check that out. I think it's in community media on the Discord. I will see you guys next week. Good luck to everybody in their final regular season matchups. We'll see you guys for the playoffs. Thank you all. Love you all. Have a good rest of your night. KTP. Peace.